I would like to thank Coca 2005 for sending me this story. And as you can see right here, this is the sign that is representing where Emmett Till's body was, well, his remains, I should say, were removed from the river in which he was dumped in after he was brutally murdered in 1955. And as you can see, there's something on the sign, or some things on the sign that don't belong there. Those things being bullet holes. Now, 35 days prior to them discovering this, they just replaced the sign with some because it was tampered with before. I think that this sign right here, or this memorial that they built on Emmett Till, probably has to be one of the most replaced signs in probably the entire state of Mississippi. Because I've heard stories where they've had to have replaced this sign numerous times because people kept vandalizing it or they kept messing it up, knocking it down, what have you. And they probably had to make different signs and different variations of the sign, to see, hopefully it'll be sturdy enough. But they keep messing with it. So they discovered that this sign had been shot at. As you can see, those are definitely clearly bullet holes. And they shot at it quite a few times. It's crazy how a boy who was killed all those years ago, who should still be alive today unless he had some kind of terminal illness that eventually he died from later on in life, and he wouldn't still be here. It's amazing how he still gets under the skin of many of the people down there. Now, back then, all those people that were around back then who were probably adults back then should be dead. They're probably gone. They should be long gone. If they were kids back then, they probably still all alive. But it just shows you how much he, even in death, is still hated. They hate him even more in death. Like, this is like pure and utter disrespect of the dead. And these are the same people who probably got so upset when the Confederate statues were being taken down. At least our monuments that are being put up are a representative of people that should be represented, or immortalized, I should say. Those Confederate statues or whatever, those were staunch racists, but then again, I can see why they got so upset when they got taken down. Because their viewpoints line up with each other, but it kind of boggles my mind that they would like to have a statue up of people who represent something that was of a loss and not a win. They try to call themselves patriots and American, but the Confederacy was far from patriotic and very un-American. So I don't really understand their issue, but whatever. But this is extremely fucked up as usual. They love to desecrate our shit. They won't dare touch that Martin Luther King statue because, they bastardized his image. And besides, I don't think any of them would even attempt to get that close to even try to do something like that. But yeah, like, I don't know how many times they've had to replace Emmett Till's sign, but I know this isn't the first or second time. It's been a few times over the years. I've heard so many stories about them having to replace the sign over and over again. And to replace this sign, it costs money. And most likely it's going to come out of the taxpayers' pockets. It's not like they're replacing the sign to update it because maybe the words are starting to fade and they need to replace it so it can still be readable. They're replacing it because people keep destroying it and they keep messing with it. It's like they want to try and bury Emmett Till's memory on life or memory without any kind of knowledge of any wrongdoing of this actually happening. They don't want to be reminded of what happened that night going into that morning. And this technically is seen as, I guess you could say, a tourist attraction, so to speak, because people will probably actually like to know or see where his last moments were at. But they don't want people to see that. And the fact that this keeps happening and they don't do any type of investigation to see who's actually doing it lets you know they don't care either. The smartest thing that they could do is probably hook up some kind of a camera there and keep some kind of surveillance to see who comes and messes with it. That way they don't know who it is. But even then, they probably still won't give a damn. For all we know, they could be in on it. But like I said, somebody does not like Emmett Till even in death. That shows you how powerful his life was while he was alive. It's like, because his death was what kicked off the civil rights movement. That's why I almost compare Emmett Till to Mike Brown in a sense, because Mike Brown's death is what kicked off the Black Lives Matter movement, even though in its beginning stages it actually meant what it said, but now it means something completely different. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. Like I said, it's completely messed up. Maybe what they need to do is take the sign and maybe put it in the museum somewhere, and because all they're going to do is they're going to keep replacing it over and over again. And every time they put a new one up, then someone else is going to come and they're going to mess with that one too. Because I think the last time, somebody spray painted over it or something. But this time some people actually stood there and they actually shot at it. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. My links to the PayPal and Patreon will be down below. I will talk to you in the next one.